Zinchenko and Mikel Arteta. A little chat afterwards as Arsenal take the victory. For more on this, Don Hutchinson joins us. Don, it was interesting, wasn't it? If I'm an Arsenal fan watching that first half, I would just be so frustrated with my team because everything was sideways, nothing was penetrating that Nottingham Forest defence. There was no spark. Forest was sitting deep, absorbing all of that pressure. But as we were kind of preparing to sharpen our knives a little bit and say, here we go again, we've seen this from Arsenal quite a bit this season, they did improve in the second half.
Yeah, you're right, Dan. It reminded me of the game when they played against West Ham when they lost 2-0 and then they lost 2-1 against Fulham. Same sort of game plan from the opposition where they sit deep, they sit in a low block and they more or less say to Arsenal, you can have all the ball, you can have all the possession what you want on the halfway line, you're not a threat. And I thought Mikel Arteta got into his team in the second half. And I thought there was so much. I thought Gabriel was fantastic tonight. He had a chance where he blasted one off the post when he probably should have scored. But as a centre forward, his head never went down. He led the line really well. He got his goal. He got an assist. And these are the types of games when you go on the road and you get 3 points and you get back on the coach and you get back down to London. In the title run-in, when there's about 5 or 6 games to go, if you're still fighting for a title, these are the games that can quite easily get forgotten. And it was a workmanlike performance. It was professional and they got the job done.
Don summed it quite nicely. From a midweek round against Forest, you know, not the easiest of places to go. You get on that bus, you take the 3 points and you refocus now on what's happening at the weekend.
Absolutely, especially when you consider the opposition. I think a decent Nottingham Forest team that are trending very much in the wrong direction. They're trying to get things back on track. You know, especially at home, they're going to make themselves difficult to beat. So you have to kind of ride out a lot of those early frustrations. And I thought that's what Arsenal did. Then they get a huge helping hand in taking the lead, and from then on in, you can only see one winner in it. And I know the one goal near the end kind of made things a little bit nervous. I guess that's again par for the course with Arsenal of late. But truth be told, they were fully deserving of the 3 points, though Nottingham Forest did try to make it very difficult for them.
And considering his form, a much-needed goal for Saka, Don.
Yeah, I still think he's been playing well. I think he's got his goals, he's got assists, but I think he needed that for a sort of personal point of view. I think Martinelli scored a couple of goals against Crystal Palace and their 5-0 win, so he's obviously playing well. I just look at this Arsenal side, Dan, and I don't see the panic in them. I think with the Declan Rice signing, I think he assures everyone, he calms everyone down. I was commentating on the game tonight, and even though it was 0-0 at half-time and 0-0 close to an hour, the more they kept going, the more they kept shifting the ball, the more they get the ball to Saka and Martinelli and Jesus. They've got so much quality. Then even Havertz come off the bench and Trossard come off the bench, Nketiah come off the bench. So they've got the depth. It's just have they got the quality when they're trying to chase potentially Liverpool down, potentially I think the favourites in Man City down because they're the best team with De Bruyne back and Haaland back. So that's the acid test. But my word, it sets it up nicely, doesn't it, for the Liverpool game at the weekend?
The one thing, we give Arsenal their praises for the way they've kind of ground out that result. And my concern, and Don kind of alluded to it there in terms of the quality, but for that mistake, do Arsenal have enough?
Right.
Or would they have had enough to get the better of Nottingham Forest? Because I think I'm right in saying that first goal was Arsenal's second shot on target all game long. So while I stand by my earlier statement that Arsenal were the better of the two when you fell, especially once they took the lead, there was only ever going to be one winner. A point would have done Nottingham Forest. But for that mistake, they wouldn't have had to take more chances. They wouldn't have had to come out anymore. Could Arsenal have found a way through if things had remained 0-0 going into the 80th minute?
What did Turner do wrong?
I just think Turner's only job in that position is to defend the near post. And not just for the obvious reasons, but if you look at Arsenal's setup, I think Bukayo Saka is the only other Arsenal player in or around that 6 to 12 yard area, so he was the only likely target for Gabriel Jesus. And then there were 5 red shirts in the Nottingham Forest box. So you assume, if as a goalkeeper, if you're standing at a near post, if Gabriel Jesus is able to pick out Bukayo Saka through that crowd of red shirts, then that's only defence. You ask questions of all 5 of them. But once that's taken care of now, from that tight an angle, all you have to do, keep your feet together, keep your body up straight. Gabriel Jesus can only beat you one place, and that's high into the roof, or should only be able to beat you in one place, high up to the roof, where all you have to do is stand with your feet together, and just body upright. So to kind of gamble on the cross, which is why his legs got caught in the position that they were, I thought he didn't need to, because that's on them. That's on the defenders.
Forest have got other worries, haven't they? Meanwhile, for Arsenal, as Don said, still very much in the title race. Let's just take a look at how things stand in the table. You've got Manchester City, of course, in action tomorrow. Liverpool are taking on Chelsea. The bookies have Manchester City as the favourites. Liverpool second favourites. Arsenal, meanwhile, third favourites. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it, Don? Mainly because maybe what we saw in the first half today, as we've seen other times, is that you feel that City and Liverpool have more match winners, which Arsenal maybe did last season, but their match winners aren't maybe up to the same standard as they were last campaign.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think, you know, when we talk Arsenal, it's not like we're sort of doing Arsenal down and saying, well, you know, Man City are better and Liverpool are better. Arsenal are really, really good. They're a top side. It's just you're trying to compete with, you know, Liverpool's best back line, I think, is one of the best in the country, back five, including Alisson. Then you go through the midfield and you go through the front line, which got goals everywhere. And Darwin Núñez is massively coming into form, and Jota just looks absolutely prolific. And then you go to Man City and you go, well, they're struggling last week against Newcastle. Oh, we'll just bring De Bruyne on. Oh, and then Haaland's fit for tomorrow's game. So you look at Man City, they've been there, they've done it, they're there for a reason, they're a brilliant side. But Arsenal will be in a title race. It's how much have they got? Will they have another blip? Well, I just don't think City have got a blip in them. Maybe Liverpool have, and maybe all the effects of Jurgen Klopp, which I'm sure we'll get to, might be a conversation in a few weeks, months to come. But I just think City are, when they want to be flawless, Man City, they can be, which I don't think Liverpool and Arsenal have got in their locker.